Thanks a lot for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is TMI for the Benin Network Center. We're diving straight into countdown to EDO 2024. Yes, the importance of PVC collections. Don't forget that rumors making the round is that some political parties are trying desperately to cash in on it. Yes, everyone's like, hey, go get your PVC, you get the PVC, how much do you want, give it to us, and all that. Why many don't even know that they started collecting PVCs. With me here in the studio to talk about this, I have, yes, Comrade Uyi, all right, he political analyst, political affairs commentator. Welcome to TMI. I appreciate your coming, Comrade.
Thank you, Wilson. Glad to be here.
All right, so very close to him is Chris or Kaka, yes.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers.
All right, and Owen Solowu, lecturer, so from Uniben, welcome to TMI.
Wilson, thank you for having me. Viewers at home, good morning.
All right, now straight to the matter for this particular segment. It's been on right now saying that collection of PVC is paramount, and many Edo citizens, even from Ondo State, also in Ondo State, they're going out there to get their PVC. Over 2 million voters recorded so far. I believe that as a party man of these political parties, you might have seen or heard one or two things pertaining to collection of PVCs. Take it up from there, Comrade. All right, what do you feel about the process?
Well, I think it began today, according to the NS schedule. A lot of our citizens, some months ago, went to participate in a continuous registration exercise, a voter registration exercise. So now INEC has said, go ahead and collect your PVCs. Actually, it's supposed to be a transparent process because disenfranchising of citizens begins from this particular point. Of course, we saw some of the things political parties have sorted even during the continuous voter registration exercise. They have tried to ambush our prospective voters, and they even collect their the temporary voters card and tell them, look, when it's time to collect your voters card, you will come to us, we will do this for you, do that for you, and all of that. All in a bid to ensure that they can get some of these votes. But we also hear that one of the reasons they do these things is to ensure that some persons who they do not think will actually vote for them are disenfranchised to increase their own chances. Today the exercise is beginning. All political parties have been made aware. We also know those political parties who are continuously involved in this kind of exercise. I don't want to mention names, but it behoves on different political parties to send their people down to the field and ensure that there's no collision between the electoral umpire and some of those people who are looking to start sanitizing people right from the outside. So this exercise is a critical one because in Edo State, for example, close to 200,000 new voters were recorded in the CVR that held some months ago. That figure is enough to determine the outcome of the coming election. So it shouldn't be taken lightly. And people like you, the media, and all well-meaning people, stakeholders, should continue to show interest to ensure that the exercise goes freely and our people are not disenfranchised and people are made to do the right thing by voting their choice.
All right, now I talked about alleged coalition or alleged collaboration between INEC and some political parties to scuttle the process, at least get some more PVC for the candidate to win this election. Allegations. What do you have to say about that, Chris?
Well, I do not believe or think that because we cannot know those that will vote for a certain political party or not by merely seeing everybody on board. We cannot determine that. It's another election year, and the need for everyone to collect their PVC cannot be overemphasized. To elect candidates, you have to vote. You need to vote to elect your candidate into power. You cannot wish your preferred candidate into government. The only way to do that is for you to go out there and vote. When everyone is registered, if, for example, we have 200,000 voters for a particular election, and only 10,000 persons are going to vote, that is to say that 10,000 persons have just decided for the fate of over 200,000 persons. So when you don't go out to get your PVC and vote, it means, because this is democracy, a government for the people, of the people, by the people. So that is to say that everyone is a stakeholder. Everyone is a stakeholder. So you don't sit down at home. I know everybody is tired. Myself, I'm tired. We don't want to come out to vote. That the people now turn their PVC into ID card. PVC is not an ID card. PVC is for you to go out and elect your candidate. So it is very, very important that I know Edo is one of the most self-aware states, politically and otherwise. I know people out there have their preferred candidates, but you cannot wish your preferred candidate into government house. The only way to do that is for you to go out and vote. Do not sell your vote. Do not sell your PVC.
All right. Do not sell your vote. Do not sell your PVC. Well, Dr. Owen, I believe that's been listening to both of them, and you have your own perspective in all of this matter. Do you see this process being free, fair, credible? This is not the election right now. It's all about PVC collection.
Well, Edo State is one of the most politically aware states. Political awareness is high here, if not the highest in the whole nation. And from the data that we have, it appears over 200 or thereabouts new voters, prospective voters, were registered during the CVR, Continuous Voters Registration exercise in the state. Among these new persons who were registered are people who just turned 18. Since 2019, the CVR that was declared before 2019 election. And then some persons who possibly, and again, I think they said people who even relocated their voting points were not even captured as new voters. We had over 200,000 new voters. Apparently, people who just turned 18, or people who have never been registered before to vote, by implication, one would like, oh, for these persons to have shown interest to register, that means they are ready to vote. Do you get what I'm saying? I really don't like to speculate. I don't believe in conspiracy theory. And I want to tell you that the awareness level among the electorate is very high in this state. The perception and the belief that some political parties will, I'm not saying it does not exist though, but I want to say that in the metropolis where we have the part that accounts for over 55% of the total registered voters in Edo State, the political awareness is very high. And people are not happy with the way things are going, and people are ready to possibly come out on that day. Because to be very honest with you, I want to say this on air, vote counts in Edo State. Because it has been experimented over time. The Edo people have spoken over time against certain persons who they believe were trying to hijack the political scene in Edo State. So I think this collection of PVCs will begin today, and then I think they are moving from location to location. I think for a week or two until eventually we go back to the electoral commission's offices in the local government. So the only thing I would say here is the electorate, the persons who, because I really do not see the need, though some persons may have registered because they don't have a driver's license, so they are looking for a valid means of identification. But how be it, this may be a very small proportion of the over 200 new voters that we have. So it means people are ready to express their anger through the ballot. And the politicians, because the way it is now, nobody can really see the way this election is going to go.
All right.
There are three major political parties who are campaigning vigorously and all that.
17, please.
Okay, no, when I say three major, I didn't say that is all.
All right.
Three major parties who are campaigning vigorously. So the idea of this party will think that he is not going to be is not on the advantage and all that. I really think that should not really be our concern for now. People should, the parties should encourage people to go out and collect their permanent voters card.
Now, if you take a look at previous registration process in Edo State, you get to realize that many persons didn't go out there to get their PVC. We had a report some time ago. Do you see that happening even in this time, Comrade Raki?
It all depends on how much those who are involved drive the process. For example, we don't just talk because we want to talk. We're out in the field. You won't believe this morning I have been to places even before coming here. We really need to go to the people. Now, what is prevalent right now is the fact that some persons, majority of our voters, felt that they were hard done by in the last presidential election. So what they say actually is, oh, when you go out there to do it, you know, the results will come out in a way that is people prefer. So what we have been telling them is, yes, in some places across the country that happens. But look at Edo. The choices of the people still counted in Edo in the last dispensation, even though in some places people still felt that the margin was not what they expected. But so we go out there to tell people, you need to go out to vote. This is the first time I'm seeing that the Edo voter is drawing out. But we have done a lot to convince them, because you really need to bring it to their table. Irrespective of the level of awareness we claim that Edo has, there are still people out there who you need to really enlighten. Just this morning I've spoken to two persons and I've told them, the fact that you refuse to go out to vote, you are not improving the system yourself, because you are going to be faced with the outcome. You didn't participate in making that outcome. So whatever it comes, don't have to be a good. So it's even better that many people like you will come out and believe that you can change things, so that what you get is what you expect is what you get. Now, the truth of the matter is that in every election, you hardly have more than up to 40% of the registered voters coming out to vote. The only election where that has taken place, the only place where that has taken place was in the United States during the Barack Obama's election. A chunk of persons, almost 50% of the voters, even in a politically aware place like America, came out to vote. It was very massive and all of that. What we usually get in our state here is between 25 and 30%. You could take the records from time immemorial. So, but now, what we want to do is to drive the awareness very far. Ours is not just campaign, ours is enlightenment, so that you can come out and vote. Because whether you like it or not, whoever becomes governor, Edo State remains. Let us be the ones who will say, yes, this is the choice we made. And whatever is coming out of that choice, we say, yes, we are part of all of this. But do not sit at home and come out to say next time that, oh, they made the choice and they didn't make it well. Come out and vote. If you like, vote for the devil. If you like, vote for an angel. The important thing is that you are part of the process. You must continue to be part of the process. You must continue to understand that there is a culture that is growing, a democratic culture that is growing. It will continue to grow. Even in America, the democratic culture continues to grow. And being out of it, you know, playing outside of it, those you know, as a matter of fact. I have often told people, we are all politicians, but we participate, we play politics at various levels. You may be partisan, you may not be partisan, but when you also vote, you have become a politician, because in the process of getting convinced to vote, probably you draw one or two persons along. You have played politics. You understand? So we all must be politicians.
All right.
We must move forward.
All right. Now, Okaka, you heard it said the tradition, the culture, so to speak, when you talk about voting, is beginning to increase. But like what Dr. Owen said, he said some persons may just be there to get this PVC just to have a means of identification. After that, nothing else. I mean, Okaka, now tell us, what do you feel should be the mindset of this particular person? It's about 200,000 that ought to go get their PVC as regards Edo 2024.
It is very correct. I've interviewed one or two persons in the last few days who have specifically said that they will only take their PVC but they are not coming out to vote. At home, they will be cooking at home and relaxing. And it has become so, sadly, in Edo State because of the way elections keep turning out to be. What the people expect is not what they get. They vote one person and somehow we feel there are manipulations. But I want to say it categorically here that elections count. Yeah, votes count. Votes do count. Judging from the last election here, you will see that a number of persons that are now in government, if their votes didn't count, those persons will not be in government. You saw Labour Party now coming out with senator in Edo South, the House of Representatives. That's because votes count. So don't stay at home and say it's for them. Some people think that government belongs to some group of persons. They don't know that everybody is for everybody. You must, everybody, don't just be involved. You cannot sit down at home and expect that for them until they start doing it well before you will begin to participate. They will never do it well. There is no time the people they will do it well. So what do? You must take it from them by force. How do you do that? You participate, you get involved. When it's time to vote, you come out and vote. The candidates have campaigned. We have heard all of them, loud and clear. In your mind, you already know the one that is your preferred candidate. So what you need to do now, you have people with like minds. All of you have the same like minds. Say, this is the person who voted. Come out and vote for that person. You cannot stay there at home and expect that person to get into government when you did not go out to vote. No, it doesn't work like that. Be one of those that come out to say, this is the person, before you can complain. So people just stay at home and complain, they didn't do this, they didn't come out to vote. Election day, they were at home, they didn't do anything. They're just there to criticize. No, don't just be there to criticize. Before you can criticize, make sure you play your part as a citizen. It's your constitutional right, it's your constitutional duty. Vote, you have the right to vote and be voted for. When you vote, before you cannot complain when the person is not, before you cannot call the person out to order. So that's the way I see it.
All right, now some are saying that the reason why they really want to go out there to vote is a period for them to cash out, in the sense that they're willing to give up their PVC to the highest bidder. What do you have to say about this, Doc?
Well, I wish every Edo citizen can have the opportunity to hear us talk on this live program. The only challenge we have is that many persons may not even have power, energy to even view what is going on now. And not many persons are willing to sacrifice their fuel that is very expensive to view a TV program.
But I can go back to our YouTube channel.
Anyway, I want to say this categorically. Edo State is a very dynamic state. Edo State is different too. Edo State is not a place where you come to do nonsense and then it stands. If I take you, I cannot really speak much about 1999 election that brought Lucky Benedict to power, because we were just experimenting democracy at that time. We really didn't know, but of course, Lucky Benedict was loved based on the benevolence of the father. And I believe that the people voted for him, even though I was not in those states at that time. They voted overwhelmingly for him. Vote counted for him to become governor of this state. Fast forward to 2007, when elections were held, Adams Oshiomhole already made a name for himself through the NLC, believed to be fighting for the common man, for the good of the common man. Edo people came out and they spoke with one voice. And of course, when the election went the other way to the Professor Osumbo, Oshiomhole went to court and he got his victory in court. That's why we have staggered election in Edo State. He got his victory in court because Edo's people spoke, and they spoke very loud, overwhelmingly. And again, when Oshiomhole, I was an ad hoc staff when Oshiomhole was coming back in 2012 to become governor again. It was a sweep because its antecedents, what he has done in the first tenure, spoke loudly for him. It was a one-way thing. They didn't really exert so much energy campaigning. Edo people, election counts in this state. If it doesn't count elsewhere, it does count here. Then, of course, 2016, when Obaseki came on board, when Oshiomhole was handed over to Obaseki, it was a still one-way thing again. The people spoke, and he won that election, and again 2020, and all the likes. Now we are 2024. Look at, I know there is frustration in the land. Frustration as a result of the outcome of the last presidential election. I don't think that in the history of this country, that election, the turnout of that election will only compare to the 1992 or 1992 June 12 election that was eventually abroad, that was won by the presumed winner, MKU Abiola. The turnout can only be compared to that. People came out because they had this belief that, oh, for the first time, as nationwide now, the first time our voices will be heard.
That's option A4.
Option A4 was 1992, where people had to queue behind their candidate. What I'm trying to say now is this. In Edo State is different. Elections count here.
All right.
That is why, if it does not count, why do you think these politicians, political parties are going about working very hard? You can say that. They are working very hard because they know that Edo people are not people you can just cajole. Okay. Especially the people in the metropolis. You can't just come here and tell us cock and bull story. Everybody is watching, and they want to exercise their rights through their ballot, through the ballot rather, and then with their PVCs. All right, only a few persons, I think, will just be carried. People will collect your money, say sell PVC or give you money, vote. They will collect the money and still do what's on their mind. I've been to polling centers where they were sharing money.
All right, Doc,
thank you. Collecting money. I still did what was on their mind.
I'll come back to you. Now, he said that though people cannot be cajoled. We are politically conscious, politically motivated. Now, if you talk about political consciousness and motivation, some are saying is just in the metropolis. If you go towards the outskirts of the metropolis or the hinterlands, the case is quite different. As some persons are tempted to sell their voters' card because of the harsh economic realities. What do you have to say about that, comrade?
Well, to an extent, that holds true. The high level of consciousness that we all talk about, we majorly refer to the metropolis. But how many places are the metropolis? If you go to Edo North, Auchi cannot be considered a rural setting. No. Some of the capitals, local government headquarters there can also be considered that. If you go to the central, you also find a place like Ekboma, Uro, and indeed Iro and all of that. You see that they have grown also to become metropolitan in the course of time. So, come to Edo South. Ego, Bobaha, Oregu, part of Obia, Northeast, where we are right now. You cannot strictly consider it non-metropolitan. Go to part of Umode, the same thing goes. So you will see that that also is having continuous effects on outcomes of election. Then progressively, these things are going. If we analyze the elections the way they have been, look at the 2020 elections. It didn't matter in Orion that you will even consider something in the urban and in the rural area. The current governor got his votes very clearly. If you also take it to the Edo North, the reflection of, the way voters, the way the votes came out in Edo North, you will discover that it was still determined by the fact that they love Adams Oshiomhole of the APC in the North. So it was little wonder that they won in those areas. It was not unexpected, as a matter of fact. So it lacks credence to the fact that votes predominantly counts in Edo. Like I will always say, there might be areas where there are these skirmishes, this looking to one, but you do not even do that in a place where you do not have a level of dominance. For example, you have a polling unit where the two or the three parties are almost having equal strength. You know, a little tinkling and manipulation could take place there, but it hardly will have effect on overall outcome. So Edo State is not like most states as actually, but a lot still needs to be done to bring all of those in the rural setting into it, to make them realize. But there are some places in Edo South here where you cross the rivers to some places and all of that. You discover that the way and manner votings go on in these places is as predetermined by some elements and some forces, you know. So all of those still need to be whittled down to ensure that what we get is 90% of what we expect, you know. So I think Edo State has done very well over time. It is because of the level of education that we have had. You look at Edo State, there are institutions everywhere. You go to the north, you have Auchi Polytechnic. You go to the central, you have AAU. You come to the south, you have, of course, the prestigious University of Benin. You will discover that in some of these environments here, students and academians are living in all these places. It has had profound effect on the entire process, and we want to do more. We in the political class, we want to do more. We want to see that our people come out and take the bull by the horn and get the system to be for them. You know, that is what happened during the 2020 election in Edo State. The people came out and said, this is our election. This is our election, and they will do nothing until they get what they want. So that is the state we actually want. We must continue to progress, because somebody said those states will one day become the barometer for measuring the political temperature or pressure of our nation. Yes, we must strive. We must thank our people. We must all go out, whether you belong in a party or you don't belong in a party, to encourage our people. Do not let us down this time. Come out and vote.
All right, do not let us down this time. Come out and vote. Go out there and pick your PVC. It's talking about collection of PVC. About 200,000 came out. Some are saying that the people or the persons that just clocked 18 this time around might just be disenfranchised, and that's not really all go well for the process. What do you think INEC should do to accommodate these people or these persons will not be able to exercise their franchise? Okaka.
From the way INEC have been behaving in past elections, like in last election, we were told that a Beavers machine that was built to work later came out to say it's no longer functioning, with those kind of cock and bull story. The way INEC has been behaving, that's what's making the people not to have confidence in INEC anymore. That's what. So what do? We are not going to leave this in the hands of INEC alone. As a registered voter, my advice for you is when you go out to vote, don't just vote and leave there. We've experimented this over time. Stay a little while there, because at the end of every voting process, they count the votes there. It is counted right there. See that it is counted. We already know who won. If you have the opportunity, if you can, escort them to submit it at the annex office. Escort them. As for that part where you say 18 below will be disenfranchised, we don't have control over that. As long as you are registered to vote and you are at the polling station, you will be allowed to vote. That's as far as I know. I'm not saying when you put your hand, they will say because you are disqualified. No. Once you register, go to the field. Once you are there at the field, after the voting process, join them to count the results. After counting the results, if you can, follow them. That's the duty of the youth. The duty of the youth is to challenge corruption, to see that these things are in place. There's no other thing you are doing on election day. It's a public holiday, it's a free day for you, so you don't have anywhere you are going. You follow them and ensure that it is imputed into where they want to impute it to before you leave there. That way, it will be very difficult to rig such an election. That's why you see the state election is, like you said, that is the barometer that will measure the temperature. It's very difficult to manipulate things here. Very difficult. Because after you follow them with that process and they've counted, it is difficult for them, for you to know one result and for them to announce another result. I experimented in last in my polling unit after they counted them. After the general results were after I compared it, it was almost the same. So just one or two differences. Because why? Because everybody is watching. You see, after this election, I hope everybody will come out to vote. After this election, this will be about almost the last time a party will feed a candidate that cannot relate to the people. It will be almost the last time. Because everybody's watching though. All right. Well, you can say it's time for us to move over to Project Network Center. You just dive into somewhere, but Doc, Owen, you have the last take on this discussion.
The thing is this, when we're talking about, I want to say this about metropolitan communities in Edo State. Like my brother here, we already said. The parts of Edo State that will account for over 70% of the votes are metropolitan.
Oh, yes.
The few pockets of the villages, like Iwa is big. Ewoimi, Ubiaja, these are central now. Epuma, Awushi, all those places up north there and then come to our central here.
The south.
The southern part of the state. So the part of the people who are politically aware, they are over 70%, and this can cause a major swing. And again, we're talking about voters who possibly turned 18 and they are crying of being disenfranchised because they just turned 18 and they will not give opportunity to possibly vote and all that. The thing is, there's a timetable for everything. Voters registration cannot continue infinitesimal, or it cannot continue forever. So there's a time frame. I believe that maybe in the next election, of course, there's always a room for people to register before every election. When the next election comes, they will register. My only encouragement here is this for our voters listening to us. You must, Edo State is not like every other state. Vote counts in this state. Oh. And then if voters does not count, why do people not come to you to canvass you, wanting to give you money to collect your PVC, as the case may be, as they are speculating, collect PVC, they're capitalizing on the hunger in the land, they want to come to you. If you are not important, why are they coming to you? If you are not important, if the vote does not count, why do you think on election day, some politicians will target areas where they think they have low strength and go there and smash ballot buses? Even if the vote does not count, I used to tell people, elections are rigged at the polling unit. If they're going to be rigging at all, it's rigged at the polling unit. Because at the polling unit, there is a form EC 60A or so. At the end of the election, the results are written on that thing and published on the wall of that polling unit. And then the presiding officers, the POs, take that result and move to the collation center. The collation officer just collates all the results from the unit into a spreadsheet. So if elections are going to be, that's why sometimes, I think in the last election, 2020 election, or 2019 election, they went to some polling units and they were smashing ballot buses because they perceive, oh, this area will not favor us. Because they know that the vote will come from the polling unit.
So the vote must count?
Yes, it does count in this state. Okay, it counts here.
You've heard that.
It counts in those states.
Votes count in those states. Don't say the votes won't count. No. You have to go out there and get your PVC. You have 5 days. Just 5 days. After that, you go to INEC head offices in the various local government. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on today's show. I really appreciate your comment.